Okay, so first things first, I initially had no idea this game went on hold. A few months back, I realized Killing Floor 3 disappeared off my wishlist and the release date was changed to coming soon. I guess they hadn't decided the new release date yet, but now it's here. And honestly, after 3 to 4 months of waiting, it's hard to say if anything has changed at first glance. Like, what did they do? After a bit of research, apparently they did some general bug fixes, improved visuals, sound effects, gunplay improvements, enemy animations, changes to the art style, and matchmaking. Personally, I don't see much. The graphics still look like how they did in the beta test I did a few months back. Looking closely at objects in the environment, things look rugged, jagged. Even your teammates have these green outlines to help you get an idea of where they are, of course, but it makes them look crunchy, like crispy looking. It just feels like the game is still in its pre-alpha stages at times. Like if you ever watched Ed, and Eddie and you can see how their character outlines shake from time to time, that's what it looks like to me with Killing Floor 3. Even when executing Skrakes and Flesh Pounds, they just look so colourful, like a child has drawn all over their faces. I will also add that what you're seeing may look better. This is what I said last time, but for some reason the game looks better on my Elgato. To the naked eye it looks like a bit of a mess, to be honest, so maybe it's just my TV, I'm not sure, but compared to what you're seeing, I'm looking at something objectively worse. Graphics doesn't usually bother me when it comes to games, especially since I'm playing older ones due to missing out in the early 2010s and so on, but for this game it's actually pissing me off. I think because Killing Floor has a unique style that not many other games have besides Doom, I guess. The blood, guts and gore, heavy metal music, I feel like that stuff is there, but the surrounding environment doesn't complement it as well. When I look at the gameplay trailer, obviously it's choreographed in a stylized fashion to show what is possible and how cool you can look, but I'm just not seeing that. It looks so much crisper on the trailer, like you can see what's happening. I guess the PS5 wasn't optimized well for it, you know. From some of the reviews I've seen on Steam, the graphics seem to be holding up alright on their end, but that's only from a couple of reviews, not everyone. The Z models and overall art style has improved. I think different categories of Zeds move about differently. There's some variation to make the Horde look intimidating. Crawlers crawl on walls now, even though I thought this was a thing before we even got any sort of playtest. I might be wrong, but it is here now. Some Zeds have glowing eyes. The bloat, which seemed to receive the most improvements, has some more nasty sound effects. It sprints at you now, can block headshots, so that's good to see. The siren is cool. I like the head extension animation and you can feel the effects of its scream. The husk is a lot chunkier now, flies across buildings, which is cool, but doesn't blow themselves up anymore. It's just fire, from what I've seen anyway. They're not as big as a threat as they used to be. I actually stand corrected here. I thought the husk wasn't blowing themselves up anymore. They still do, it's just not as impactful, maybe because I'm on normal difficulty, but in the previous game you had to keep your distance no matter what. The husk was no joke there. And of course, no EDARs. I ain't trying to see those guys again, to be honest. The most annoying enemy in this whole franchise, if I'm being honest. They are so jarring. However, what kind of shocked me was the Flesh Pound. I feel like this isn't as intimidating as its Killing Floor 2 counterpart. We all know back in Killing Floor 2, when a Flesh Pound spawned, everyone could hear about it, or everyone would hear about it. And that thing would charge at you with its arms folded like Tom the Cat. Screen is shaking and everything, but in this game, I thought they phased the animation out. Instead, it prioritized swinging its cheese strings about. You know, the dual whips is what I mean. A couple games in, I noticed that the charging animation still exists, it just doesn't happen as often. And now it feels like the Skrake has taken the top spot for being the most dangerous, especially since it can grab you at any distance, and its chainsaw can still be heard across the map. Z time seems okay-ish now. I was on the fence before, it felt like we were missing something, but I think it's due to the fact that Z time isn't primarily meant to benefit headshot placement anymore. It's more for the players to take advantage of their perk abilities, which are centered on movements and speed boosts. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Personally, I love being able to precisely aim my headshots during this time, especially since I'm on console now. I still can, it just doesn't feel as punchy. You don't really hear the impact, the crunch of the headshot during this time, so it kind of sucks. Matchmaking was absolutely cooked for crossplay on launch though. Almost forgot to mention that. It wasn't detrimental because the simple fix was just to turn crossplay off and I could find lobbies easily. Wait times were still short despite being limited to just PlayStation players, so it's calm. One new environmental addition was destructible walls and doors. It seems like only the Skrake and Flesh Pound are capable of that, but it was good. I like that. Kind of places emphasis on their destructive power. The bosses haven't changed much and don't have any real issues with them except the Impaler or Impalers plural. It seems like they color coded them so you know which is which, but at face value you still can't tell. If you're playing in a group, naturally everyone's gonna shoot whichever ones they can see, and and because their damage goes down very slowly, it's hard to tell which one you're shooting at because they're all taking some form of damage. So yeah, that's the issue for me anyway. I don't mind fighting 3 of these guys. It makes it more interesting. It just would be nice to help us differentiate which is which. Then again, I was fighting in some mist for half of the fight, so I guess that didn't help either. I think it was smoke someone used. I can't see anything. I can't see what's happening. What the hell is happening? I genuinely cannot see anything. What is that about? As for the perks, now apparently the specialist system was removed, but either they haven't done that or I'm blind. I think people were annoyed that specific skins were attached to specific perks. It would be easier to just let the perk be its own thing, then you can pick whatever character model you want regardless of said perk. It would be majorly beneficial for the supply pass users, which looks very similar to the Helldivers one by the way, but if you're a player that likes specific skins and you want to grind for it or buy it, that skin can only be used by that perk. So if you're someone that doesn't like to play Assault or Foster but you like one of his skins, you still have to play that perk, unfortunately. That's still what I'm seeing now, so I have to double check, or if someone can explain to me how this was removed, please let me know. Personally, it's not the end of the world for me. I don't plan on buying skins and I can't see my character 90% of the time anyway, so it's whatever, but I still understand people's frustration with this. I was hoping for some wave variation. We're still stuck with the standard 6 waves, which is okay. It's not long or short, but I would like the option of longer sessions and super short ones, so I can at least squeeze in one quick match if I'm limited on time, or if I have enough time I can do a couple longer sessions to maximize XP. Hopefully they can add that in the future. There are 8 maps now, and during the playtest I think we only had 3, and since that was quite close to launch, it's possible that's how many we would have gotten. Unless they hid the remaining 5 from us so we don't see all the content, I don't know. I think 8 maps is a good place to start though. They listened to players about city streets and made it nighttime instead of daytime. However, after trying all of them, it goes back to what I said before about the graphics. The surrounding environment is kind of meh to me. I didn't even know the offices map looked like this. I was expecting it to be more like the map from 5, you know, in Black Ops 1 Zombies, if you remember that. Most of this area is under construction. It doesn't really scream offices. I'm just waiting for James Bond to bust through a wall at this point. I did have the most frame drops on this map, not sure why, but be wary if you're on console. The other maps were fine, I think. Weapons wise, it's okay. I can tolerate characters like Foster. His assault rifles feel really good to use, mainly the Scar. It does a lot of damage and headshots do feel satisfying. The engineer shotguns I was hoping to be really good. They do send Zeds flying back, but not as hard as the boomstick or doomstick. I think the guns in general are kind of generic for the most part. Killing Floor 2 gave us some wacky weapons over time. Berserker had the Eviscerator, Static Shocker Fist, the Pulverizer, a sledgehammer and shotgun all in one. The ninja class just has variations of katanas which can get boring quite quickly. I enjoyed the Firebug to a degree, you know, she had an actual flamethrower and that was the most entertaining weapon out of all her choices. The SMGs for the Firebug felt too weak for me in my opinion. Sharpshooter, excuse my terrible aim, I'm still trying to get used to the sensitivity as we speak, but because the headshots didn't feel as impactful, that was what was killing it for me. The sidearm was okay to use, but other than that, the other guns didn't make me feel like a sharpshooter. Popping heads and stuff, you know, that sort of thing, you're not hearing the crunch. I keep saying crunch a lot, but I'm being serious. I think using the revolver gave me a little gunslinger vibe, so hopefully we can get that perk back in the future if they do add it. Medic's SMGs felt really good. I enjoyed using that and the beam energy weapons as well. So I'm 50-50 with the guns. They could be better. I think a reviewer stated that they're trying to be like Call of Duty, and I agree. I think we need more punchy, ridiculous weapons back. They all kind of just seem generic. I mean, most of them anyway, not all of them. Now, I did have some stuff to say on the firing range and I'll drop it here. This was kind of me just free-flowing it as I was playing the game. I'm not the best at speaking live, but I just wanted to try something different. One thing I said about the firing range is that the ninja doesn't really get much action here, because obviously he's melee only. I can throw my shurikens and all that stuff, but it's just, this is something for COD players, you know? Like, I get it that most of the perks in this game are ranged. Ninja has ranged weapons, but he's more so strictly melee based, so this benefits like 90% of the perks in this game, but I just feel like the Berserker could have done. I'll keep calling it Berserker now because I'm so used to Killing Floor 2, but the ninjas should get more. I don't know, should get more to do here. You know, at least with the katanas and so on. Because I don't remember where I saw it from, but like I think from past Killing Floor 2 videos years ago, people would be able to like spawn in Zeds to test out weapons. I think that would have been good here. Instead of just the standard firing range where you're just, you know, hitting targets, why not have Zed spawn? You know, why can't we like spawn a Zed that we want and then test out a certain weapon on it to see what works best? I feel like that's the best way to make full use of the range, because I can imagine most people won't really come down here. You know, the testing on these guys isn't really a good judge to see what works, because me one-shotting these things are not do not necessarily apply to the Zeds out there. So the game for me is not, it's not terrible. It's not terrible, but I just feel like the 90 days that they took this game off, it's like, what did they do? See, but that's what I mean though, like all these damage types, right? This would have been great if you could test this out on Zeds here, you know? Like, you know, mod your weapons a certain way, try out different types of, apply different damage types to your weapons and see how effective it actually is. I mean, they say it is, but I think it would be good to like put it into practice besides having to do it in game straight away. Now, with all that being said, do I regret my purchase? No. Partly because the price was not too painful on the pockets. It's pretty much half of what we're paying for games nowadays, so I'm kind of thankful for that. I was on the fence when playing the beta, and I'm still on the fence for its official release. I want this game to do well, and whilst there's still some things annoying me about it, I still can enjoy the gameplay to a degree. You know, it's very different to Killing Floor 2 as it is now, and it doesn't look great. The guns are kind of meh, but I can tolerate it. I'm playing other games, you know, a bit of Warhammer, Forza, jump back on Anthem with my cousin, but I wanted to play something else to pass the time until either Mafia or Borderlands comes out. Mafia I'm still unsure, so I may wait for a review on the game, to be honest. As for this game, it's not got my full attention, but I'll play it here and there. My advice to anyone who hasn't purchased it yet, in all honesty, if you want to try it now, I'd say buy it with a friend, because again, it's significantly cheaper than most games these days, and you can always have fun playing a game with a friend, even if it's absolute dog. Or if you're solo, I'd say get it if you're curious, but I'd wait a few weeks to see if any changes are made, more so significant ones. Launch days never really go well, so either try that or just wait for a sale. They may knock off £10 or $15 by the end of the year, so if you can wait till then, getting it for cheaper is always good. Personally, I think after all this, the game still doesn't feel ready. Like, it's not complete, like, you know, we're still in testing stage. I think the game can be salvaged though, it can be saved, because it's not in a terrible state, but it's just a question of will they have time to do it and will they be able to do it? So we'll see. But if you're someone who's already playing or watching other people play, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's been Dre, take care and see you next time.